Hey everyone, Huggy here, and today we'll be walking through my process for making hair cards. I've actually made a video on this topic about a year ago, but since then I have updated a lot of my methods. Everything's just like a little cleaner, a little more like easier to do, so think of this as a more complete and more refined take on my process, and this is like what I'm currently using when I'm doing like realistic looking hair. So at first I'll be going through baking the textures using Fibershop to then moving into Blender so we could actually model our hair mesh. This video is part of a series where I'll be building this character called Velora Inanis. She's a character that I'm currently working for a future project, so it's gonna be really cool to actually seeing a lot of parts of our process being documented in video. And this first one will be about our hair. And since we're starting with the hair, I'll also cover the other parts of our modeling in upcoming videos, so please let me know what parts you'd like me to cover next. So with all that said, yeah, let's make some hair. So here we are in Fibershop, currently using version 3.1.0, and we're starting with this basic little block of hair. It's boring, it's default, it's basically begging us to be given personality. So at first we see our main scatter node here with a couple sliders to be adjusted, so I'll be increasing the strands thickness a little bit. I'll add some randomness to the root so things aren't too uniform looking, to then reduce the overall width while making it more dense, and add some randomness for that little touch of chaos that I love so much. Once the base is set, we can move to our first modifier, noise. This is what gives the hair a little bit of texture so it doesn't look too clean or too uniform. The sliders here are pretty straightforward, so I'll raise the strength a little bit, add some randomness, and do the same thing with shift. Nothing too fancy yet. Next modifier, and arguably the most important one, it's clump. This will be what gives the hair that messy and tapered shape that we're aiming for. I'll be starting out with 6 clumps to give it a strong and very split kind of look, and then add randomness to taste. Below that, I'll add a curl modifier. You can already see how much this does, like each clump starts curling individually, which is exactly what we want. Main sliders here being shift and randomness ones, where we'll be adding some delightful chaos to our hair. Use it with care. At this stage, one thing you'll see me doing a lot is actually randomizing the seeds until things start looking just right. No deep science, just vibes and feelings. And to finish this off, I'll add one more clump. Very simple, so our hair can taper nicely. After all that, I'll add another clump modifier, adding even more texture to our hair. And below that, another curl. Similar strategy, just making our hair even more dynamic, paying attention to the randomness and adjusting our seeds. Now we can move on to our next block, where we'll make a more uniform version of the current block. Something we can use as a base layer for the whole hairstyle. So to do that, I'm simply duplicating the previous block and going through the seeds and randomness values again, aiming for something cleaner and more uniform. After our base block is set, we can make variations on it, slowly decreasing the density at each time. So first I'll duplicate our last block, then I'll be tweaking the sliders to make a bit messier, a bit thinner, giving some subtle personality. And after that, I just repeat the process. Duplicate, adjust, add variation, until we have a nice little family of blocks to work with. And now it's time for the fun blocks, the thin strands. For these, I'm creating a fresh block and switching to the hand draw feature. I prefer drawing these messy strands myself because it gives me much more control, and honestly it's just easier when I want something more natural and dynamic. So that's what I'll be doing for the next couple of blocks. Once the strands are drawn, I'll increase their thickness just a little, some very subtle. We still need them to keep that hand-drawn silhouette, so the adjustments here are very gentle. After that, we can create a few more hand-drawn blocks, and these will be the ones that really break up the shapes and make the whole hairstyle feel more dynamic, more alive, just give it more personality, really. And after going through those, I'll come back to some of the earlier blocks, polishing some parts that I didn't like as much. Now that our blocks are done, I'll head into our material settings and set the normals to tube. This helps the textures bake with a more three-dimensional look, which will give our cards a lot more depth later on. So now we can move on to the colors tab, and since this character's hair is white, there isn't a whole lot to adjust here, but there's a couple layers worth adding. And the first one will be our strand ID layer. This adds a subtle color variation across the strands themselves, and making it super useful for making our hair feel natural, really. And afterwards, I'll add a root and tip layer above it, setting the blend to multiply. With this, I'll be darkening the roots just a tiny bit. Nothing too extreme, keeping like a slightly purple-ish kind of hue, so it could also add some color to it. And now we can bake our new textures, now with color applied. After everything's baked, I'll name the project as m_vel_hair. This is usually the naming conventions I use for my projects to keep things very organized. And now for the expert settings, I'll be using the advanced settings here. And the first texture, it's color. So for this, I'll be assigning the RGB channels to albedo red, albedo green, and albedo blue, while the alpha channel would be set to opacity. Second texture will be our normal map, so I'll name it normal, and set the RGBs to normal. So normal red, normal green, and normal blue, with the alpha channel being a white color, so nothing's transparent in this. And the last texture will be our direction map. This is very useful for doing stuff with shaders later on. I won't be using it, but it's really good to have on hand. So I'll be naming it flow, I'll assign the RGB channels from the direction map. And once again, alpha set to white. And now we can actually export our hair textures and head to Blender so we can actually start creating our hair mesh. See you there. Okay, so back to Blender. I already have our body mesh ready. First thing will be actually setting up our hair material. So for that, I'll be pressing Shift A and create a plane. So now I can use this plane to create our material, which I'll also name m_vel_hair. Then I'll drag another window here to the side and I'll assign my textures to it. It's very straightforward at first, so we can make it fancy later. Now I'm pressing Ctrl-Shift-T, and this is gonna bring this Explorer box, which I'll select both for color and normal textures. So with this command, Blender will assign our textures automatically to the shader, while the only manual thing I'll have to do here is drag the alpha from our color into the alpha in the shader. And after our textures are properly set up, I can go here and adjust the UVs. So the plane is actually filled with our main hair block. This will be the base layer of our hair. So now it's time to actually shape our plane, making it thinner, adding a couple edge rings so it can properly deform around our character's head. So for that I'll press Ctrl R and I'll type in the number of loops that I need, which in this case is 22. Enough for looking smooth on our head. So now I'll add another loop here in the center and I'll pull it forward a tiny bit to give it more depth. And now I'll duplicate this plane, aside one of the thinner blocks to it and move it slightly in front of the main layer. And now I'll duplicate this again, I'll put it here on the other side, so this will be our second thin block. And with these three layers together, you can already see it has a nice sense of depth right away, which is absolutely what we want. And here I'll also push the UVs inward a tiny bit, since this is the base layer, so the ends aren't really meant to be visible. With that done, it is time for the tool we'll be using the most, path curve. So I'll create one and start setting up as the base over here. Starting right here where the bangs end and ending right where the twin tail starts. So after shaping our curve, I'll be moving back to our plane and I'll add a curve modifier to it, setting the deform axis to -z so we can properly follow our curve. Afterwards, we can scale our plane so it actually fits the curve nicely, and now we can go back to the curve and fine tune it. Two really handy shortcuts to have in mind are Ctrl T to twist our curve and Shift S to adjust the thickness within each point. So I usually use those to make it a little more thicker towards the middle and a little thinner towards the ends, so it has some very nice kind of taper to it all. And after we have a nice shape, I'll actually create a collection here at our outliner to keep things neatly organized. So finally, I'll select both the mesh and the curve and press Shift D to start duplicating to build more strands, paying a lot of attention to the volumes and overall flow of our hair. Now I'll also make a variation on these strands, so I'll be adding yet another plane in front of the other ones with a thinner block here. So now we can keep going, shaping our hair until we have a solid base. Now that we got a solid base layer, it is time to jump into the side hairs. So I'll be creating another strand mesh, this time stacking a couple planes with thinner blocks, making it all feel very messy and natural. And once that's in place, it is back to the usual routine, creating new curves, shaping them to taste, and letting the strands follow along. Following here behind the ears and resting nicely on the shoulders. And after the sides, it is time for the most recognizable shape in our hair, the twin tails. The bulk of the silhouette lies here. The strand mesh this time will be very wild, so I'll be stacking mid to low blocks, where depth and variation are king here, so time to shape it. Now paying a lot of attention to the overall silhouette, since this is the most important shape of our hair. Now for the bangs, I'll be using some of the thinner blocks for this, filling that space that we left on our forehead. Nothing fancy, just shaping our curves. And now for the chaotic part. If you saw my other video, this technique I'll be using here is very similar to what I did there, so I'll be creating some very thin, very messy strands to break up the transition between the base hair and the tails. Process for this is very basic, just creating planes and brute forcing them into place really. Like, what can I say, messy workflow for messy looking hair. And after we're done with the tiny hairs, now I'll be doing the same thing to the transition between the neck and the hair. And after we're done with the tiny hairs, I'll be selecting all of our meshes and I'll bake their shape in. So I'll select everything, right click, convert to, and mesh. This will bake in the shape of all of our strands, letting me group them together very nicely. So now selecting some of the parts, and I'll be joining them together and naming them properly. So this helps me keep things even more organized. And now for adding a little more depth, I'll be selecting a few planes from the base hair, and I'll now Control L to select the entire plane, and then I'll Shift D to duplicate them. And after that, I'll press P to separate it from the main mesh. Now I can adjust the shape of those planes even further, and place the UVs to thinner blocks, breaking the shapes up, adding some messiness. I could even go into like sculpt mode and just create some chaos. And now I'll do the same thing here on the tails, just making them feel more feral, more alive really. So our hair's finally done, and after all of that fun chaos is behind us, we can finally play with the material so we can actually bring it to life. For this I'll be previewing our model using cycles, so all of the fancy effects would show well. First thing I'll do is bringing the roughness down to around 0.3, so we get that clean and shiny finish, and then I'll bring up metallic to almost the same value, around 0.3 as well, so the highlights can pop a little more. For specular, I'll be cranking the anisotropic slider all the way up to 1, and set the rotation to around 0.5. This is what gives the hair that natural and very believable streaking. Especially obvious here in the bangs where the highlight stays centered and smooth. And lastly, I'll be adding some transmission, making it catch light like real hair. Values can vary a lot depending on hair type and overall thickness, so around 0.3 worked for me in this case. And that's it, here's our hair. If you made it this far, seriously, thank you so much, it means the world to me. I hope this video helped you out, like, even just a little. More videos on this character are coming soon, so feel free to subscribe to keep up. Leave it a like if that was useful for you, and drop a comment if there's anything you want to see next, or even just to say hi. I always love hearing from you guys. So this was Hoggy, signing out. Love you all. Take care, everyone.